back to Lundy Road. As you can see in front of me, I have a very standard loop of track. As we're planning to create a new layout, I thought it was very important to talk about the way of controlling the trains that you're going to run. So in front of me I have my original controller. This is from 1995, and as you saw there, I was able to control this fairly modern train that I bought last year, which came with the more up-to-date Hornby, very plasticky controller. It worked exactly the same as this one in theory, but there's a lot less control with this one, so I'm sticking with my old one just now to be able to talk about the differences between DC, which is what this one is, and DCC, which is what the Dynamis is. So the first difference is that on this controller we have manual controls. We've got forward, back, stop, and we've got a dial to change the direction, to change the speed, sorry, and the switch changes the direction. So I have control over forward and back, and I can make it move by turning the dial. And this particular train doesn't like going backwards, as you can see. It's a little bit jittery on the track. But it still goes round at a modest pace. So with DC, what's happening is the actual rails change polarity to change the direction, and the amount of electricity that the controller puts through to the track changes the speed. So the lower the voltage that's sent to the track, the slower the train will go, and the higher the voltage, the faster the train will go. And the direction is changed by the switch, which changes the tracks to be plus or minus, which makes it go back or forwards. And that's why we have our red and our black. So our red is normally positive and our black is normally negative, but in this case, this controller changes the red and the black round. So it's never going to be positive, or you can never say it's positive now or negative now, because it's going to change with the controller. The new modern controllers use all DC electricity, which means direct current. So you put 19 volts DC in and it puts out 15 volts maximum DC. And that's the case with these ones. However, the slightly older controllers, and this one is an R965 from week 33, 1995. So it is quite an old piece, but it's still, as you can see, it's all working as it was when I got it when I was 10. So as you can see, I can make the train go backwards and I can make the train go forwards. And what's happening is with this one, I've actually got 19 volts DC, AC going in here. It's actually an AC transformer, and that is changing in here to DC for the track, but on your pins here we've still got AC, which means that all the accessories can run either way around. There's no polarity to worry about. If you were to wire something to this track, it's particular LEDs will work one way around but won't work the other. On the more modern DCC, it's different. So if you're wanting to run one train or one train on each track, DC is a reasonable way to go. You have very limited control, i.e. direction and speed, and a lot of the larger trains aren't very good at going slow. As you can see, this train is kind of struggling on the lower speed, and can do with a nudge just to keep it going. So that's DC. So DC, you've got positive and negative to the track, which is switched to switch the direction of the train. And now I'm going to change over to the DC system. So if you bear with me a second, I'll just do that. So as you can see, I've now got my class 37 on the track, and I'm now using my DCC controller. I've got Dynamis here with the easy command. Now the difference between AC and DC is really what gives DCC its power. Whereas with this one, only the accessory was on AC, the actual track is now AC. So that means that the current alternates, and that gives us a bit more control. So the train has always got power, and it's a chip within the train that we're telling to do the speed change. So at the moment I've got emergency stop, which means that the track has got no power going to it. That means that anything connected to the track would be completely dead at the moment. When I take the emergency stop off, I can control the train directly. And now when I'm changing the speed, I'm telling the train, I want you, in this case, to be at speed step 3. Which means it's going very, very slowly. I can then speed the train up, and it will speed up to a reasonable pace. And again, I'll just do the emergency stop just now to stop it there. So as you can see, I've now got one train running round like I did on the DC system. But the benefit of DCC means I can run another train. I've got a sprinter here, just the driving section. So I can now add that to my layout and just make sure I've got it on the track properly. And if I now go to that train, I can now control that train. And as you see, that one's not moving because I've slowed that one down. But now I can have two trains going at the same time. So I need to slow this one down a bit because it's going to meet that one too quickly. So once I get them to, I try and keep trains, if I'm running them like this, to opposite ends of the track. And this is where DCC comes into its own, because I can now control all of my trains from a single controller, and I can have more trains sharing one track because I can control their speed. The one issue with DCC is dead spots. And to get around dead spots, you have to have more dropper wires, which is essentially a secondary loop of wire underneath the track that your dropper wires, which are these, the way that I do them is I have fish plates, and I make these up. I just solder on a red and a black wire, and then below the layout I've got a much thicker red and brown wire, and I join these in using standard chocolate block style connectors, and that means that I get the same current going to all parts of the track. On a small track like this, as you can see, I've only got one set of droppers connected, but if you were to do this on a baseboard, you would want to have at least 4 sets, 2 at either end and 2 on each side, and possibly even have one in the middle and one at this side and one at this side of the straights, just to make sure that there is no dead spots. DCC also comes with other functionality, so trains such as these, they have lights built in so you can control the lights. I don't have any sound locos either, but you could also control sound. You can spend thousands on all the accessories, and they can all be controlled by the DCC system. So in a later video I'm going to talk about Electrofrog points, and I'm also going to talk about switching with the PM1s, which is what I've used on my main layout. So as you can see, the trains are getting a bit too close, so we'll just slow that one down a bit. And as you can see, I have really sharp control over these trains. I can control the speed steps down dramatically. Using a more advanced system such as the Hornby system, and the Dynamis also has a USB system where you can connect them and run programs that you set for trains, and that's where these switches come in, because you can send trains to specific tracks, to specific stations, and have it all computer controlled. So all you have to do is enjoy your trains, going around the layout that you've created, the land that you've created, and see it all happen. There are still limitations with DCC. One is it does cost a bit more, because you have to have DCC fitted locomotives. You need to know all the chip settings, but I think it's worth the hassle going DCC. So in the next video I'm going to discuss more about the droppers and how I would put more droppers onto this layout, using this style of dropper, and I'll create the under baseboard. And I'm going to do it all so you can see it on this layout, so that you understand how it works, whereas if you don't see it with the track, then it becomes a bit more difficult. I'm going to finish this video here, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed getting some trains running and showing you some of my trains. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up. If not, it's the thumbs down. Please leave a comment, any questions, and let me know what you thought of the video. Thank you.